Hey, everybody. Welcome back to For Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I am Boser, and this is your Monday Night Geek Out Sesh. Thank you, Alec, for gifting the sub. Oh, no, it's your own sub. You are subscribed. I'm just not used to you subbing yourself, just you doling out the gift subs. Thank you so much for that sub, as always, Alec. Speaking of Alec, make sure you come back next week for his birthday stream with me. His Geek Out Sesh right here. He's turning 21, and we'll be drinking on stream together. But anyway, we are here tonight. It's our Geek Out Sesh, and if this is your very first Geek Out Sesh, welcome. We love you, and whether you're watching this back on YouTube after the fact, or listening to it on podcast. Be sure to stop by anytime on a Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard, here live on Twitch, where you can join in the conversation and meet my guests and talk about these delicious topics together, so we can just geek out loud. But Alec is here, Bath is here, Clunes is here. If you're in the chat, let me hear you sound off. I want to know who we're hanging out with tonight. But if you haven't already, make sure you use that command QOTD, where I want to know, the question of the day is, have you ever had a paranormal experience? And that could be a ghost sighting, that could be you've seen Bigfoot, that could be you were abducted and probed vigorously by aliens. I want to know. Because that's what we're talking all about tonight, is cryptids and ghosts and UFOs. And my guest is somebody that you probably know very well, but also you may not know that he's actually very, very passionate about this topic and is cooking up a very special project regarding it. So stick around, hang out with us, and then at the end of the stream, we'll be playing Think It or Drink It. And I'm going to test his knowledge of cryptids and see if he can decipher which are real and which are fake. And if he's right, I drink, and if he's wrong, he drinks. So let's see who can walk out of here at the end of the day. But I want to get this thing going. I want to welcome him in. Keep those paranormal stories coming if you get them. But please give it up for the man that you all love and know very well. He is a legend. He is a dear, dear friend of mine, and I am honored to have him on the FGBG team. Give it up for T, everybody!
Fun fact, the first time I saw Boser as an adult again, I went into his home and he introduced himself to me as he was meeting me for the first time, even though at that point I've known him for close to 13 years.
Listen, a lot had happened in those 13 years. And I didn't want to be rude and act like you were supposed to know me. That was me extending the chance for you to
just reminded me I'm a forgettable human being.
Yeah, there you go. That's the moral of the story. Dude, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just love that it's just me and you hanging out tonight.
Yeah, it's not much different than most of our days. So.
I know. So apologies, all of us, for getting off track immediately. And if you've only tuned into a Geek Out session in the past and you don't know who this handsome man is, he is part of the FGBG crew, and he paints minis and chats out with you every Wednesday night. And he's also part of our ongoing tabletop RPG campaign. This time he's a player. The last one he's the DM, and the next one he will be the DM. Which
I'll be the MC, the Master of Ceremonies.
Oh, because we're not playing D&D?
Correct. We're playing City of Mist.
And that's actually going to tie in really well with what we're talking about tonight. So we've got a lot to unveil and a lot to discuss, but I want you at home to join in the conversation. So if you hear something you've never heard of, let me tell you, let me hear it. If you know something more than we are saying, share it. This is going to be a really cool discussion tonight. Yes, Alec, I am simping over T, only and always. And
I mean, look at me. Who doesn't?
Duh. And Alex says, can you go over how you guys met up last week? What? How we met up last week?
Oh, when I was in town for work and we got a drink together.
Oh, yeah. Because we hang out all the time, but like this.
All the time.
We never get to actually sit down shoulder to shoulder at a bar rail and have a drink.
I don't go to bar rails often, so you should feel very special.
I feel very special.
I
Anytime I'm in your
often wants to
presence.
go to bar rails, and I'm like, or we could stay home.
Boo hiss. Didn't you have fun there, Lucas?
He's never gonna let us live that
Someone's
down.
bitter. Hey, next time. Next time. We had a lot of personal things to discuss. You just unveiled our secret rendezvous that we've been planning.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Love you, Lucas.
Cheers to you, Lucas. But, T, we're talking about cryptids, talking about Bigfoot, talking
We
about
are.
Nessie, talking about all those great things. For those at home that have never heard that word cryptid, like I hadn't before I met you, what is a cryptid?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the technical definition of a cryptid is, but a cryptid is basically any unproven entity, on any unproven being that people have some sort of belief in. The biggest is being Bigfoot, Sasquatch. It's basically anything that is supernatural but has some level of following to it. So your biggest being Moth Man, Nessie, and Bigfoot, because those are just kind of your cult classics.
Yeah.
But then you have everything from the Jersey Devil to the Dog Man to now you're getting into the SCP-based ones where you have Siren Head. Yeah, so it's kind of anything and everything is more or less there's some topic of a cryptid behind it.
So as long as it hasn't been thoroughly proven, but there is a lot of belief that it exists, to at least
once it goes
level.
from if anything would ever become proven, it's no longer a cryptid because then it has a scientific name that would be associated with it. So it would just be a new species.
Okay.
Which makes it a little bit of a gray area, but I mean, none of these have really ever been proven. So,
which is just, it baffles me. Like the whole idea that there can be something that's believed to exist for this long, and yet we can't prove it.
Well, that's honestly not too far from the truth because you got to think rainforest-wise, we haven't explored like 80% of it. The ocean, we haven't explored like 90% of it. Like there's so much of like Earth we don't know about. Saying anything has been undiscovered is so far from the truth because a majority of things, life on Earth has not been discovered.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Are you just making up these
Nope.
percentages?
The percentages might be off, but it is very, very high. Like ocean-wise, like we can't physically go past a certain point because there's too much pressure. Like who's the director that went to the depths to find the Titanic?
James Cameron?
James Cameron, thank you. He's got record for being one of like the deepest divers, but even at the point he got to, they were getting so much pressure. If they went any further, they'd probably die because like the ship itself was starting to like seize under the pressure of the depths that deep.
And so we believe that life could actually live down there.
Not life in the sense of like, because when you're getting into like the ocean, for example, when you're getting into that deep, like you're not going to have anything with eyes because there's no light that deep, so they're not going to have eyes because they don't need vision.
That's true. They're
existing on feeling as compared to sight like the rest of us do.
Okay. I do worry what's down there. Like when I remember reading about a giant octopus, and at the time,
those are absolutely real.
At the time, I didn't think it was real, and I'm like, oh, like the Kraken. I'm like, oh, that would be scary. And then I learned it fucking exists.
Yeah.
But would something that deep come up to the surface? Because wouldn't it have an opposite effect? Like we from the surface can't go down that deep. So anything that thrives in that much pressure, could it come up to the surface without dying?
I mean, I don't see why not. Nothing is going to have a negative effect of having less pressure on it. So, like Megalodon, for example, which people still believe lives deep, deep, deep into the ocean. If it comes higher into lesser pressure, it's going to be able to move quicker because not as much force is being exerted on top of it.
But it's like physical anatomy would have built up like ways.
Yeah, it's just going to make it tougher more than anything.
Yeah. I just wonder. I mean, I wonder from having absolutely zero knowledge of biology, science. I can't count. I can't math. Like I just.
Oh, we know you can't math. Oceana, hello.
Wonder. Hey, Oceana, have you ever had a paranormal experience. I keep saying activity like the movie. So we were defining what a cryptid is, and you mentioned some of the most common cryptids. You said Sasquatch, Loch Ness Monster, the Moth Man.
Yep.
What were some other ones that are like the go-tos?
All right, so I'm going to go through my list of research that I've done. So, fun fact, I didn't know this until I was doing research for my project. Nessie, there's actually not only Nessie, there's other ones. There's Bessie and Tessie in different parts of, I think all three of those are technically continental United States, but they are believed to be the same species, just different parts of the country.
Really?
Yeah, so
the Loch Bess monster and the Loch Tess.
Flesh pedestrians.
Ew. Get that word out of my mind. I don't like it.
Sky couldn't remember the word skinwalker one day, and she was trying to describe them to somebody, and she's like, flesh pedestrians, and that's kind of our house running joke now.
Sorry, Bessie and Tessie.
Bessie, Tessie, Champ is another one. Then you've got so in the state of Indiana, there's the Beast of Busco, which is a giant snapping turtle.
How giant?
We're talking like massive. Because you got to remember,
like
turtles. More or less, yeah. Because turtles, you got to think I think the biggest recorded turtle shell found was 2.5 times the size of a 6 foot tall man. So it was just the leather back of itself. There's a photo of the shell itself and a man standing next to it. It's about 2.5 of him. Yep.
I'm finding this. We're gonna do a lot of
Googling over here
tonight.
reading Wikipedia. Technically, T is on his cryptids Google Doc for a project that I was working on.
Largest turtle shell ever found. Oh my god. My god.
You got to think everything on Earth is substantially larger than, like, dinosaurs, for example, were massive compared to everything we are.
Okay.
The species in a whole just got smaller as time has progressed.
Are you looking at Twitch, T? Is this what you're talking about?
Which one?
This is the big one.
Oh, sorry, Twitch. Sorry. Yeah, that one.
Holy shit! And
so if you go down that's actually the photo I was picturing in my head.
Which one?
So if you to the left side of your screen, not the Google quick search, but immediately to your left there, the skeletal looking turtle. Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so everything has just gotten smaller as time has progressed because resources have lessened, and then obviously as everything evolves, everything is getting a lot more centralized. There's a better term for that, but I'm not smart enough to talk science. That's why I'm here talking cryptids.
Right. We don't have to use real facts, but there's believed to be a turtle like that size here in Indiana.
So I think when I was doing research on that one, I think the last sighting of it was in like late 1800s. So we're talking, and again, obviously, a lot of these expand into a lot more because everything was spread by word of mouth. So obviously, like, oh man, it always starts like I caught a 18-inch fish. In actuality, they caught a 12-inch fish. And the next thing you know, I'm telling you this story. I'm like, man, my buddy went fishing down the other day at the lake and he caught a 24-inch fish. And it's going to start just snowballing, getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time progresses because word of mouth, people are just unintentionally lie, and then the next person just picks it up and runs with it.
So I have a question, but first let me catch us up on some chat. Oceana said, define paranormal experience. I thought I saw someone come into my room and felt someone touch my hair. Terrifying. Only to find out it was my cousin's cat. So maybe a ghost cat. Little Rascal says, so the reason saturation diving exists for humans doesn't apply to creatures of the deep. Do you understand that?
Listen, don't listen to me. I'm an idiot. I am not a smart individual in the absolute slightest. Again, that's why I'm talking about cryptids, and I'm not noting anything scientific facts. I don't know how the depths work. I just hear things and reiterate to the best of my ability.
Little Rascal, ask that in a dumber way for us. Alligator snapping turtles are huge too. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Exactly.
To think that some of these animals, like giant squid, giant turtles, are still giant. And so the idea that why shouldn't there be a giant shark? why shouldn't there be a giant brontosaurus in a lake? Lucas says Oklahoma, I think, has a giant octopus in its lake.
It does. Yep.
In its lake?
Yes.
Is it a salt lake?
I don't know. I think I had it on this list. I'm not sure if I still do.
Clunes, haven't you ever heard of Indiana Beach? Proving once again there's more than corn in Indiana. But my question is, how much of that, like playing telephone and lying and like I caught a fish this big, this big, this big, how much do you think that actually plays into like cryptozoology?
I think some of them are a little more fictitious than other ones. I don't know if Bigfoot is still actively around, but I do think Bigfoot is just a descendant of Gigantopithecus, which is questioned to be the missing link.
Excuse me, I don't know science. Let me just throw out words like Gigantopithecus.
Gigantopithecus, which is closest related ancestor would have been the orangutan.
Okay.
But you got to think with how much evolution has taken place over the world, because at the same time you're having Gigantopithecus in Australia, they actually found remnants of what would be hobbits. So you're actually seeing like half-sized people that lived in the ground and had like intricate tunnels and like in-ground enclosures that like at full height only existed to be around 4.5, maybe 5 feet tall. So while Homo sapiens sapiens is like the active dominating species walking around, there were still offshoots in one branch or another that had other things that just died off due to natural selection.
Okay. I mean, so it's a thought that this is possible. It's just wild. Sorry, I'm trying to look at. Thank you, Millennium Makunma, for the follow.
Oh, Millennium, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining in, man. I really appreciate you.
Lucas says hobbits were / are a real thing. And
Exactly.
Oceana says they proved that some Nessie sightings are otters swimming in line that get distorted in view like a mirage on Loch Ness, and then some of Bigfoot sightings are bears too, so they could be misidentified.
So, unfortunately, a few days ago, there's actually a post circulating right now that has a strong basis of what Nessie sightings actually were,
Really?
and they were actually whale penis.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I could actually. My friend Tasha actually sent us sent me a text. So it's pretty funny, but
Neat.
If you
That's
so this
a
would
whale.
be. Yeah, so this would be what we all see is our Nessie sightings, and then you can tell a whale penis looks awfully a lot like what Nessie's head would look like.
Well,
If humans go from deeper sea to surface too quickly, they go boom. That is true. Yep.
they get the bends.
They get the bends.
I knew that one.
But I'm not gonna lie, seeing the whale penis thing circulating on Facebook, definitely hurt my feelings because Nessie is one I hold dear and true to my heart. I'm like, I don't know why I believe in you, but I want to believe in you so wholeheartedly that I refuse to not.
So that leads me to my next question. Where did this passion for cryptids first come from? Like, where'd you first get that main curiosity?
Honestly, I think humans are just boring ass individuals to begin with.
True.
And it's always kind of been vampires and werewolves were always a big interest to me because it's something supernatural, and those are also, once again, you're probably more, I guess, technically the most popular cryptids as compared to Nessie and Bigfoot.
Sure.
But vampires and werewolves don't get the same credit as cryptids because they're so pop culture centric. And it just kind of always expanded from there because first it was vampires and werewolves. I'm like, oh, if those are things, then you expand into Bigfoot and Leshy and frogmen. And it's just kind of turned into a rabbit hole of just some cool shit that you can kind of learn about. And it kind of gives you a understanding of things that kind of happen through history and an understanding behind why certain things were believed in at like the Kraken, for example, why that was such a feared oceanic creature was because while a massive pirate ship may not have been able to be taken down by a giant squid can grow up to 30 feet tall or 30 feet in length. So if you get that on a lesser sized ship, it could absolutely bring it down with it.
So basically the love of cryptids came from the fact that it's more exciting than regular human
Exactly.
shit.
100%. Absolutely.
I get that because as a kid, I used to fantasize about being like a monster hunter, and I wanted to go squatching, and I wanted to go find UFOs and ghosts, because if those are real, like if you can prove those are real, it just opens up this whole mindset that there is so fucking much more in this universe.
Exactly.
And
I grew up in a very religious household. So it's one of those things. There's like God created everything. You're made in His image. And not to get just too holy on the channel, because that's really not what we do. But it just kind of never sat right with me. And there's like this bitter part of me that got so indoctrinated that like part of me wants to be like, I want you to be wrong, not to like cripple your like faith system, but to kind of help open the conversation of, hey, there is more than just whatever deity you may believe in.
sure. Hi, Squishy.
Squishy,
Welcome.
hello. Thank you for joining.
Dude, T, you're bringing in all the people.
Millennium and Squishy are from Decent Studios.
Nice. You got some merch?
I got some Decent Taste merch.
You guys,
So if you guys don't,
I need Squishy and Millennium to know how often T talks about you guys. Like all the time. He's just like, "Oh my god, they're doing such great things and they're growing and they're like great human beings." And I have to, there's a point that I'm like, "Okay, shut up about Decent. I know they're amazing, okay?"
as much as I love their community, like their community is honest to God on par with ours. They're some of the most supporting and loving individuals I've ever met. So have to show love to them.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, please go follow them so that T.
Don't worry, I'm gonna get Job and Davey and everybody on the show at some point. Boser's gonna cave in to my annoyance at some point.
No, I'll gladly. We can all hang out together right here on a Monday night. But yeah, I got off track. Oh, you're talking about God and how you grew up that way, and I did too.
Religion just always felt so confining,
Yeah.
and cryptids was a way to explore more in just more possibilities, just more things out there.
Because personally, as a lot of you may already know, I kind of had my eyes opened. It was like a few years ago, where up until then I was like a devout Christian, believed in God, all those things, and then there was a big shift in my mindset in my life, and so I don't really believe that anymore. But I did find, like exactly what you're saying, that as soon as I allowed the idea that, okay, this isn't real, other things could be real, because like the idea of God excludes Bigfoot, excludes the evolutionary things.
Yep.
And so I got so excited. I was like, wait, could aliens be real? And now I'm all on this ship. So do you have any personal theories about, like, let's say Bigfoot or Nessie, other than being a whale dick?
So there, I don't believe in the Hollow Earth theory, but it is one of my favorite theories of all time. And the concept of the Hollow Earth is that inside of our Earth, there is a smaller Earth. And so like the Earth's core would be another sun. And if you dig deep enough, everything kind of inverts itself and you're inside the inner Earth. So the theory that involves Nessie for that one is there's actually underwater waterways. And so that Nessie and Champ and Tessie and Bessie all still exist inside the Hollow Earth. And because there's still all of these underground waterways and they're sea creatures, they can travel around, and water is water. You can pop up anywhere there's an outsource. So all these settings, like, oh, I saw Nessie here and I saw Nessie here, the two things can correlate together because it's just an underwater waterway system.
Kind of like what you saw in like the recent Godzilla versus Kong movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Journey to the Center of the Earth is all kind of the same concept based around Admiral Byrd going through the North Pole and entering into the Hollow Earth through the Rainbow City and meeting the giants, telling him that if mankind doesn't change their ways, like it's going to kill themselves. And that's a whole nother project I can go onto a tangent of.
Is Crater Earth, like KJ Becker says, is that the same thing as Hollow Earth?
It's all going to be in the same little concept.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of got their own little name for it, but the most wild thing about that is it's believed that Hitler still exists inside the Hollow Earth, because he's actually a reptilian man, who is one of the leading species inside the Hollow Earth.
Okay, but you mentioned reptilians, and I'm a big fan of Ancient Aliens. And that
And
show,
it's another.
that was one of those things that as soon as like, okay, maybe God's not real, let me open up my eyes. I was like, give me Ancient Aliens.
Ancient aliens.
I was going for the real truth, you know. But Little Rascal made a good point. The whale penis thing might apply to other sightings of sea creatures similar to Nessie, but it couldn't apply to Loch Ness sighting because the biggest mammals that have been spotted there are seals. No whales equals no whale dicks to mistake as Nessie, which means that sighting could still be legit.
Thank you, Little Rascal. I need Nessie in my life. She brings me just a level of comfort that's needed in today's day and age.
Little Rascal, I didn't know you were so well versed on whale dicks and where they should or shouldn't be. No, but that's really interesting. Like, gun to your head, do you believe in Hollow Earth?
No, I feel like we've explored enough and we have the technology that some level of crossover would have occurred by now. We've dug a lot for people have believed this for fucking centuries. They've done the digging, and I believe we'd get more sightings of whale dick, bro.
Knew it.
No, it's one of those things that if I could choose anything to be real, it would be the Hollow Earth. Just because it fills in my fascination of all these ancient lost cities, El Dorado, Atlantis, everything that we'd been missing as a whole could still exist somewhere.
It gives you hope for the fact that
Exactly.
there could be more than what we see.
I'm more likely to believe in the Hollow Earth than I am to believe in heaven and hell.
At this point, same. But Clunes had a good point earlier. He said, the god could just be as real as any cryptid.
Exactly.
It's still
and to
unproven,
clarify,
yes.
if you are religious in chat, I'm not shitting on you by any means. Find whatever gives you comfort in the
Right.
world, because society is a shit show. So if something gives you peace, grab onto it. It's just not something that fit me personally.
And I still have some bitterness about it. So sorry if I seem one-sided, because I am at this point. Do you have any, because we were talking about, like, the question of the day is, do you have any personal paranormal experiences? Do you have any personal experiences with Bigfoot or Nessie or even ghosts or UFOs?
I do have one ghost experience.
Okay.
So when I've had to have been 5 or 6, and I've told this story so much, I don't know what is memory and what is the story you've told yourself.
Oh my God, that's my whole damn life.
But it was my childhood home that I grew up in. I had my buddy Kyle over for a sleepover one night, and for some reason we went downstairs, and it was the middle of the night. And as we were coming down the stairs, we were sitting in our main dining room playing, and it was like 2:00 in the morning. And we both turned and saw a ghost walking down our steps. And it always made sense to me because in our home, this part I don't remember if it was a suicide or if there was a murder in the home. But a woman's body was actually found in our attic. And so again, I don't know if this is like something like I've just told the story enough, like the facts have been manipulated.
Yeah.
But I vividly remember it's one of like my core memories of just seeing this elderly woman in like a long nightgown just walking down the stairs, and before she got to the bottom step, she just dissipated.
And you vividly remember this?
I vividly remember just a female ghost just walking down the stairs. I don't remember anything else about that night, but that is just, of my childhood, is one of the most core memories I've got.
That's wild.
But outside of that, never had a ghost experience after that ever again.
I had gone ghost hunting so many times in my life because, like I said, I just want it to be real so much. And Little Rascal tell us your haunted soda shop story. I want to hear it.
Haunted soda shop. I dig it.
But like in college, the closest thing I ever got to, because I went to college in Illinois, out by Chicago, and there's some of the most haunted places in the U.S. in that area. Like the Bachelor Grove Cemetery is this most terrifying, shoddy, tiny cemetery where there's this one grave and people leave doll heads around it, which is just terrifying to see.
Nope, don't do doll heads.
But the only real thing that I've ever got was a couple friends and I were ghost hunting in a theater, and we had like a voice recorder, and so we put it down on the stage, and we were going out around. There you go, shout out Decent Takes. And you could tell that no one was near the recorder because you could hear us elsewhere, but we didn't see anything that whole time. We were there for maybe an hour and a half or so, and at the end we grab the recorder and then we go to like the cafeteria just to like listen to it. We scroll through, we aren't hearing anything until you get to a point and it's like static, and in between the static, no shit, I heard this. And it was also heard after we took it to a dorm room with 13 other people, plugged it into a stereo system, and they all heard this same thing. It was like, what do you boys want? Why are you here? No shit. It's real.
I've just in like the science aspect of the paranormal, I believe in it in some level because energy can't be destroyed.
Yes.
So I believe in some level of spirit or a soul or whatever aspect of that would be like that can't just be nowhere. So on some level, like I do believe that the energy of anything can still exist because it can't just not exist. So if energy as molecules just moving really fast and colliding, monkeys type enough letters, they end up writing a book. So how is that any different than ghosts possibly being real?
Yeah, like none of this is, I think, outside the realm of possibilities at this point.
Oh, for sure haunting some people when I die.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. If we hadn't said hi to you in the chat, say hello again. Hi, welcome back. We're talking about cryptids and ghosts and UFOs. What's your take on UFOs then?
Aliens, I absolutely believe in. The universe is far too vast.
Yes.
And ever expanding. And I'm not I'm an egotistical individual. I'm not egocentric enough to believe we are the only intellectual beings in all time, space, and everything beyond. There's no physical way in hell.
This place is huge, and it's getting bigger every minute. What are the chances? Now ask Boser from 6 years ago. He's going to tell you a very good chance.
It's one of those things. It doesn't make sense to believe that of all things we're it, like, because we're a fucking mess. Yeah. And you're telling me this of what all ones and zeros and random combination of things correlated to being like the only possibility in all of everything?
Yeah. Someone keeps casting a shadow behind Boser just walking past the light. Is this a bad time to tell you that I'm completely fucking alone? Is it my own hand? Is it this? Is this what you see? I'm gonna wet my pants down here. I've never seen a ghost in this house until tonight. Thanks, chat. No, I'm with you. Like, that's why the whole reptilian, I think they came here. They came here sooner, and they gave us all the technology, and they live in the center of the earth. And
so that's kind of just looping back into the Hollow Earth theory. That is one of the theories. Is the gray aliens actually made it or used science and all their futuristic mumbo jumbo and mixed with the monkeys and apes that were existing on the planet, and then we were the outcome, and then the gray aliens went into the Hollow Earth to simply observe us and the outcomes and aftermaths of it to see what their science experiment would turn into.
I could see that. I just need...
Job is going in right now.
I just need proof. I just need something. Who's
Honestly, I've had this conversation with Sky a few times because I've always also kind of dealt with like is reincarnation a real thing? And if it
yeah.
is, like I don't want it to be. Like I want there to be some sentient being at the end. Like, hey, do you want to go back or do you just want to know everything? Because like I'm 100% all in. Like I want to know the secrets of the universe from beginning to end. I want to know who made the pyramids. I want to know all of it. I'm good. I've did my existence here. Let me know on the secrets of it all. I want to know who killed JFK. I want to know the ins and outs of what makes this all tick. Who was right? Who was wrong?
That's supposing that you
Reincarnation
get
is
that
real. The next
choice.
to me is fuck. Facts. I don't need that karma fucking rolling over.
I would be I've wasted the small brain that I have, so the next brain's going to be even more useless to me. But for those of you that don't know, T has been so excited about cryptids for such a long time that it is coming to a head in this really cool project that most of you probably don't even know he's currently working on and has been working on for a while. And I got
Yep.
a first glimpse at the first bit of it, and I got really excited the fact that I could see this being a thing. So, do you want to tell them about your super secret project you've been working on?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I can't have it both ways. I am a writer, I guess. I don't. Sky likes to remind me I can't call myself a writer because I don't finish projects. I just start a lot of them.
That's a writer. It's 100% a writer.
Um, I love, like we've made it very clear. I've always loved anything past John. Hello.
Hey,
I've
John.
always loved everything past what humanity is as a whole, and I've always wanted to have my own superhero team. But basically, superhero wise, everything's been created up to this point.
Feels like it.
And like Clunes just said, I have no imagination, so I'm not going to come up with anything else. So I came up with the idea of a. I love the idea of cryptids existing and being forced to interact in modern society as is. And I grew up reading a book series called Maximum Ride, and it's about this school system that takes these orphan kids and mixes them with avian DNA so they grow wings, they fly around, they get their own supernatural abilities. And that's kind of been the basis of what this story is. And it's based around four individuals who are chosen by Mother Nature herself to become like the next creator or like the next protectors of the world and everything in it because mankind gave up on the balance of advancement in nature and now they're just too greedy. So Mother Nature sent out the spirits of herself, which being the cryptids, and taking over some college students because we all love the idea of college students being able to deal with growing up and then having new shit to deal with and supernatural shit to deal with. So there's four heroes. You've got a Momo, you've got a Leshy, you've got a Bunyip, and you've got the Akarokoramoa, which is a Japanese octopus lady. So yeah, the idea is just four individuals who take on supernatural cryptid abilities, and they now have to protect the world from an evil scientist who wants to just become God himself.
Okay, I need you to backtrack a little bit on some of those terms, but I've always thought this is such a cool thing, and I need to echo John when he says you are a writer T. By the unfinished logic, I'm not a crocheter then. You don't want to know how many half-finished scarves and hats are scattered around. It's all progress towards something. Yeah, you confuse the Boser with all these terms that I've never heard of, and the fact that that just like rolled off your mouth like you were speaking the alphabet is incredible to me.
So I did a metric fuck ton of research on the cryptids I wanted to be our heroes.
Okay.
I didn't want to go cliches. I didn't want your Nessies. I didn't want your Bigfoots. I didn't want your Mothman. I kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper to force people to do a little bit more education or more reading on their side. What the hell is he talking about? What is this creature? I want to learn more about this. Again, just to kind of broaden your horizons.
Mm-hmm.
So the main character is a girl by the name of Sophia Petrov, and she actually encompasses the Leshy,
Which is a
which
what?
technically speaking, in the lore, it's a male forest spirit. But like just TDLR, it's a Slavic spirit that protects the wild animals in forest. It's a shapeshifter and can adjust from the size of a blade of grass to a large tree. It has bear and wolf companions, but it's just a giant. So the top left is the one you're actually looking for what a Leshy would generically be.
Okay.
That image is more a Wendigo, which is a whole nother cryptid in itself. But yeah, this is a Slavic cryptid. He's some worship him as a deity. Some it's just a forest spirit like a nymph or a fairy, and it's protector of the woods.
And like this is a Leshy in like the Witcher series in a way.
Yes,
I don't know that people would say that that's exactly accurate, but that might be something that you might have seen if you've been watching The Witcher. Okay, so the main character is a Leshy, basically a forest
is
spirit.
a Leshy. Yep, she's going to be
Okay.
the leader of their group.
Okay. And what are the other ones you said?
So then you have Mai Sato, and she embodies the Akaro Kumai. So it's AKKOROKAMUI.
Oh my god.
And that is a gigantic human octopus monster from Anu and Shinto folklore. Lurks in the Funka Bay, Hokkaido, Japan. Creature is believed to be 120 meters in length and red in color, likened to the color of the reflection of the setting sun upon water. Has the ability to self-amputate and regenerate limbs. Amongst its followers, it's believed offerings will allow healing upon them.
I'm really terrified what if I keep scrolling what I'm gonna find.
No, this one doesn't have a whole. There's not a lot of NSFW for this creature.
Okay, good.
And that's the other thing I really wanted to do
If I had the word
was
hentai, I
really.
bet it does.
I really wanted to open the horizons to one, broaden my knowledge of cryptids and actually go worldwide in my research. So, like I said, the Leshy is Slavic. This creature is Japanese. So I really wanted to, again, anybody that would view this or read this script or whatever this project turns into, to allow them to kind of explore more of what the world has to offer to them.
Okay. And
so then after that, then we have Ogichada Wolfheart, which is a Native American based around my better half behind me.
I'm going to butcher the spelling.
Oh, no, so that's the character's name. I apologize.
Oh, okay. God.
So he is just, I didn't want to go too cliche, but I made him just a werewolf because I believed you needed a well-known cryptid that people can relate to. So he is going to be in the lore the first. So kind of backstory to the concept of itself is all over the world there are gardens of Eden, which are pure points of natural power where Mother Nature exists in herself. And in each of these gardens, you're going to have one protector, one guardian. And so our werewolf, our Native American creature here, or individual here, is going to be the elder that's going to educate all of these new guardians as they are being brought up into their new life. Originally, he was actually going to be a skinwalker, but skinwalkers are, in lore and myth themselves, just known to be evil entities. And Skyen actually had a long conversation about whether I can take artistic liberties to help expand the lore on creatures without taking away from the lore in itself. And we kind of decided skinwalkers are just bad fucking individuals and you really shouldn't try to put like a positive light on them. So I switched to kind of go over to werewolf, so you have a cryptid that people can relate to. And it's a little bit of I don't know anything about these, but I know about this creature, so it's going to be a little bit easier for me to stick around for this.
Yeah, something to anchor the reader or
a name. Remus Lupin. Yes, thank you, Clunes. And then finally we have Jared Rickey. which is named directly after a buddy I lost last year, Jared. Rest in peace, brother. He takes on the Bunyip, which is a Australian folklore. So it's a tale from Aboriginal Australians. It lives in swamps, billabongs, creeks, and riverbeds and water holes. In Wimba Wimba, Binyup means devil or evil spirit. It loves eating children, unites characteristics of bird and alligator. Um, just this massive sea creature.
It's like a hippo mixed with a
An
tiger
otter mixed.
mixed with, oh my God. And he loves to eat children, and this is the hero of your story?
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
cool.
can, and I'm a big proponent of. I don't like when things are naturally good or naturally evil. Evil. I don't like when things are black and white. I like blending the concept and society as a whole, because if you view it like, oh, this thing can only be evil, you're really limiting any type of growth that can come from a character or a concept.
So, to push you on that, why did that stop
Mhm.
at Skinwalker then?
Um, that was one because I am a white man and I am already taking from a bunch of different cultures and things that really I don't have the right to be expanding and exploring upon. And I have somebody personally close in my life that I can kind of lean on, and the Native American aspect, where I still want to show respect in
Sure.
offering more viewpoint into these different folklores while still being respectful to it.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things like you could, because going the Skinwalker route, I was still going to have him play the good and evil route. He was going to be an anti-hero.
Hmm.
And then still at the end of it, that'd still be playing into too much of that evil concept being such a strong um, grasp of this character. It kind of defeats the purpose.
Okay. No, that makes sense. It's out of respect, and you want to do it justice.
Exactly.
Um. So then, what's the goal here? Like, what do you want this to be? A book? Do you want it to be a series? Do you want it to be?
So I originally was writing it as a live action,
Okay.
but as I was working on it the other day, I live action I think limits myself as a writer because I write a bunch of these scenes and I get caught up in my head. I'm like, can this be done? Yes, but it costs millions of dollars for this one thing, and that's going to stop a lot of possibilities from occurring to itself.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, I'm going to end up doing this as an animation show to kind of really broaden on the possibilities of these four heroes starting off in what this first season will be is just saving their hometown. And because Mother Nature itself is dying, which is just an allegory of kind of what's going on in the world today,
Mm-hmm.
the goal of this series in a whole is going to be them traveling around the world and protecting all of these gardens of Eden, while coming across different folklores and cryptids along the way, kind of teaching them new things and then teaching the viewer and educating them about things that they may or may not have known about.
So it gets to highlight new cryptids and
Mhm.
educate about cryptids, but also tell this amazing, cool story that
Yep.
comes out of your big brain.
Yep.
How long have you wanted to do something like this?
This project I've only been working on for 6-ish months. I've been writing these massive epics as long as I can remember.
Well, I mean, that even came into play with our D&D session that you homebrewed and
Yeah.
DM'd. Was born from this story that you had that you just needed to see come to
Yep.
fruition. You just are so full of stories. That's what I've always admired about you. And even when you don't feel like creating, don't feel like writing, they can't help but crawl themselves out of you somehow, and you allow them to. So I've always admired that a lot about you.
And it's one of those things, and I'm not even 100% sure if how I'm writing this is ideal for the way the story can be told.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I'm really falling more and more in love with tabletop RPGs. That I'm kind of viewing a lot of these stories that I've been working on and not kind of finishing because the medium may or may not be correct, and writing by yourself is not something that I directly enjoy as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I love just the collaborative process and allowing a project to bloom to its full height based around other people's involvements. Because why I might think something's a good idea, just this project alone, I shot it off to you and Jeff, and both of you came back like, hey, what if you do this? What if you do this? Cut this, add this, expand this. And that alone changed the concept of the story from an okay story to, oh, this has so much more potential because I've got these guys already chiming in. And so, like you mentioned with Kingdom Come, I'm running that again for a new group of people, and I'm going to see kind of how they take the story, where they go with it, and eventually I'm going to turn that into a module in itself. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
if all goes well, I get to turn around and sell that to people and let them go off and play in Maleviant, whatever the
Yeah.
hell this town called.
Maleviant.
Was it called
Yeah,
Maleviant?
the
I don't
continent,
fucking know.
the
Yeah.
volcano of Maleviant. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the concept. And this might be one of those things. This might not be the best medium of it being a live action or a movie or an animated show. You've got tabletop RPGs such as Monster of the Week, which could be a much better fitting for me to try to tell this story. Is set up the bones and allow interactable characters to come through and add their own cryptid that they want and take this story and run off and do their own thing with it.
Well, I'm definitely really excited to see what happens to it, and I'm going to keep encouraging you to keep going and keep writing, even if it ends up being a better module or being a better just book in and of itself. And if all of you want to keep following along that story, then make sure you join the Discord, where he posts about this stuff all the time, but you just never see it because you're not part of the Discord. So if you're excited about this, if you want to be part of that conversation, if you potentially want to have something bounced off you someday and have a major change,
You want a character based around you?
there you go. Because I really enjoyed the initial reading, and I saw a lot of potential in it, and especially how excited you got about it. It just helped me envision what it could be, and so I'm really hoping this happens. Like, do you have?
Yeah, it's one that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please, you.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's one of those stories that it took me a long time to actually put pen to paper, but I've got just on my desk alone is 3 journals with story ideas, and it's random things that come to mind, but there may not necessarily be stories that are to be told. But this is one that's kind of been on my mind for years. So like I know it's a story I need to tell.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of turning it into the story to tell.
It's almost like that thing that is nagging at your brain for that long. It needs to come out. Do you have like a goal, like a timeline by this date in this year that I have this much accomplished? Or
so not to fucking self-promote my birthday on Wednesday, I've had a real internal crisis with myself. I turned 27 this week, and every year I've kind of, cause not to get too depressing, I didn't plan on being alive this late in my life. I don't have goals as an adult, so kind of anytime I write a project, I'm like, I'm going to have this project finished by X dates, and I'm going to then start on this project, and it does nothing but sets myself up for disappointment. So I don't actually have goals. I know I want it to be a thing, but every time I inevitably put a date on myself, I put myself in such a time crunch box. I pressure myself to the point I can't write, and then nothing gets concluded.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell myself it's going to get done. Could be this year, could be 5 years from now. The story's still growing as a whole, so I know it's a story to be told. I don't know as a whole what the story is yet, though.
Yeah. I know that you're not alone in feeling like once you put a date on it, then you're just gonna miss it and be pissed and hate yourself for missing. That's the same reason why.
Shout out Facebook memories for constantly making me feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, thanks. Shout out to Facebook for making all of us just feel like shit constantly.
Sorry, Meta.
Fuck you, Meta. So if you have ever felt that, let us know, because I do that just in my own life. Like I don't have a 5-year goal. I never have a 10-year goal because that feels like it's limiting me, and then it feels if I miss it, then I hate myself. So I just react.
Honestly, I know it can be a beneficial thing.
Yeah.
It's just not something I've ever been good at. I put stories to paper, but putting goals and aspirations to paper has never been something I've kind of gotten around to teaching myself or being a big component of in my life. If I want something, I do it, and it's kind of as simple as that. Is my mental thought process behind it all.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. I like that. That's the way I live. And hey, it's T's birthday in 2 days. So make sure that you go wish him a very happy birthday on Wednesday. And you can do that through our Instagram, through Twitter. T might want to reset his mic, they say. Or it's just my shitty setup.
One of those two options. 4Geeks by Geeks, always offering technical difficulties. Buy our merch.
Boom, watch
where
this.
We have some. Why are you promoting our Twitter like anybody uses it?
Because, if people popped off, then we would use it more, I guess. I don't know.
Twitter's dead. Let's just call it what it is.
There you go. There's
but thank you. Thank you.
But you were talking about tabletop really quickly because I want to get to our game. But
okay.
This story of people fighting against cryptids and becoming cryptids themselves, having some mythological powers and fighting this large corporation is kind of where we're going in our next main D&D, but not D&D campaign.
No. I've spent a lot of money on this next TTRPG because I just support this company as a whole. So shout out Son of Oak to begin with.
Okay.
But the next game we are playing is called City of Mist. It is, first and foremost, some of the most incredible art I've ever seen in my life.
Love it.
But City of Mist is ordinary people with extraordinary powers. In D&D, as I've always told you, the only limitation is your own creativity. When you created Balor, thank you. You're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, literally, you can do anything you want. And I manipulate the rules around that. City of Mist is we're telling a collaborative story together. We're creating a graphic novel as the concept of the TTRPG tells itself. So we are going to more or less just be a writer's circle, and we're going to create a story, and you guys are going to you guys are telling this story, and I'm going to interact based off reactions around that. But the story that I've partially written is going to be the city of Pandora, which is the city that never sleeps, not because it won't, is because it can't. Pandora is a Pandora's box, quite literally through and through. It's going to be a mix of pop culture and folklore and a SCP foundation. The concept originally came around going, you guys becoming a part of the SCP Foundation. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a large rabbit hole we're not going to go down at this point in time. But if you talk to me on Discord, I'll tell you all about it.
There you go.
The SCP Foundation is an organization that hunts down cryptids and ancient aliens, and it's a lot to it. But City of Mist is we're going to have our heroes coming around, and they're going to be embodying any pop culture individual from Thor to Scooby-Doo to Hercules to Bigfoot himself. You guys are going to be the heroes of this new tale. And then
I'm seeing that we are lagging. Like, what the hell?
You are physically lagging.
So are you.
All right, we're back. Now T's streaming. But it doesn't... Oh, nope. We're minimizing a little bit. Now I'm a little bit closer. All right, cool. Now we can at least finish the show.
Oh my God.
Welcome to 4 Geeks by Geeks, where we offer technical difficulties.
Oh my God. What can you see if I share I have a PowerPoint for the game. I'm so ashamed. I can't even run my own show. I can't without help.
So what I need you guys to do, we're going to do a subathon soon. We're going to ask for donations, and we're going to try to get Boser a new computer.
I love this show, but it's becoming a point where it's become such an issue. I can't do the show like this anymore. I can't do this to you, and I can't do this to the people that have come on the show. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All I can be is sorry.
Plus note, our viewers expect this. Decent viewers, I tell you this is not what we're like on a regular basis, but I would be lying to your face.
It is. It so is.
Clune said only as long as we do it NPR style.
What's NPR style?
I don't know. It sounds like old white people, if you ask me. And was snacking for like a week.
If I share this, are you able to show this as well?
I would have to. Yeah, I would just view it. Think it or drink it, Cryptid edition.
Yeah. Okay, we have a thing. We have a game. So we're gonna end the stream with a game tonight, as we always do on a 4 Geeks by Geeks Geek Out Sesh. When we can get to it and technology doesn't just tear my ass up.
But literally just Bosers though. Nobody else in 4 Geeks by Geeks has these issues.
Yes, seriously, it's just me. It's because I'm asking a lot of this. I thought super smart machine in front of me, but apparently it's not that super smart. But anyway, we are going to play Think It or Drink It, a Cryptid edition. So I have put together a list of a few different cryptids, and it's up to T to decide whether they are
That's
correct,
me.
meaning they have been chronicled as a real sighting or documented in some way, or whether I completely made it up out of my butt.
And I will be drinking Bud Light Seltzer Sour. Bud Light, if you want to give us that sponsorship, we'll just take a computer, and I'll drink these on every stream.
And I'll be drinking Old Forester.
Oceana, yes, we're back.
We're back. We're back. I wonder if I can pull up. I want to at least pull up Twitch chat so I can see.
You should do that on your phone.
Oh, that's a great idea. Great idea. Let's do that. We're so ghetto here. I can't even.
But we're finishing the show. Man,
finishing.
Technology really just took this great episode we had and you're like, nah, you don't need the podcast. You don't need the YouTube.
Yeah. You can just.
Because I know full damn well
right
your
now.
computer did not save that recording.
Well, it's Twitch did though.
That's
Download
true.
from Twitch.
That's true. Well, the tech difficulties gave me the opportunity to get laundry in the washer. You're welcome, John. We did that all for you.
There you go. This actually was an elaborate scheme for you to get washed and for me to pee.
All right. But let's play Think It or Drink It, Cryptid Edition.
Doodle-doo-doodle-doo. Okay, so first off, cryptid number 1. In 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan, the creature is described as a 7-foot-tall, amber-eyed, bipedal canine-like animal with a torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. Real or fake?
I'm going to go with, that would be Dog Man. So I'm going to go, that's real.
Real? You say it's Dog Man?
Yep.
Meaning the Michigan Dog Man?
Yep.
Nice. See, you mentioned that even in like the very intro of the game or the stream earlier, and I was like, oh shit, it's so many. I'm drinking. Cheers. For those who don't know about Dogman, can you tell us any more about Dogman?
I don't know a whole lot about the Michigan Dog Man, unfortunately. You might be. Well, we've got Clunes here is pretty quick with his answer. We can ask our residential expert. What do you know about the Michigan Dog Man? Just kidding. Our residential expert ain't got shit.
Well, I have some information that I have in front of me.
Hit us with it.
It's accurate, but it says that the history of the creature was unknown to most of the modern world until very late in the 20th century. It is said to have been stalking the area around the Manistee River since the days when the Ottawa tribes lived there. Authentic sources for sightings made prior to 1987, however, have never been documented beyond Steve Cook's song discussed below. And the Steve Cook song is in 1987. A disc jockey, Steve Cook, in Traverse City, Michigan, recorded a song titled The Legend, which he initially played as an April Fool's Day joke. He based the songs on myths and legends around North America and never heard of an actual Michigan Dogman at the time of the recording. And he completely made it up, but still created a song about the Michigan Dogman.
Nice.
Okay. So 1 point to you. I'm drinking.
Boom.
I'll do one more for good measure. It's really good whiskey. All right. Number 2. 1972 at 1 a.m. An animal was spotted and described as 3 to 4 feet long and about 50 to 75 pounds.
This is Frog Man.
The person reported spotting the animal crouched like a frog before it momentarily stood erect to climb over the guardrail and back down towards the river. You said it was what?
That's real. That's Frog Man.
You mean the Loveland frog?
Yep,
Man?
out of Ohio.
Dude, he's got me again. I did these easier to hard, so I was expecting you might get some of these.
I gotta start off strong. We'll see what happens after that.
But for those who don't know, it's the Ohio folklore. The Loveland frog, also known as the Loveland Frog Man or Loveland lizard, is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly to 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. It gained a renewed attention in 1972 when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with descriptions of a frogman. After purported sightings in 2016, the second officer called a news station to report that he had shot and killed the same creature some weeks after the 1972 incident and identified it as a large iguana that was missing its tail.
Oofs.
Do you believe this? Do you believe there's a frog iguana creature wandering around Ohio?
So I mean that would be leaning towards just like the reptilian folk, which don't have a large number of sightings as they used to. So I would say a large frog would be feasible, but this one's just definitely not as popular.
I mean, it's not out killing people.
It's just out there living its best life.
Yeah. And apologies for butchering all of my pronunciations forever. Please don't cancel the stream. All right, did I drink for that one? No, I don't think I did.
Nope, not yet.
Let's watch Boser's face get flushed. All right, ready for the next one?
Yep.
Real or fake? Georgia, June 1967. A woman named Carol Peters called the police stating that there was a creature attempting to enter her front door with, quote, too many damn hands and won't stop shrieking. Upon the authorities' arrival, there was found evidence of a scorch mark 20 feet in diameter, no less than 300 yards away in her backyard.
So this just sounds like it's going to be an alien. However, statistically, I'm going to go with this one's a fake because I don't think you're going to go real, real, real. I think this one's going to be real, real fake.
So you're basing this just based off of the statistics of it all?
Yeah, but also at the same time, this more seems like an alien sighting as compared to a cryptid sighting. But the details in itself don't jump out to anything in particular for me.
Well, you should trust your instincts because no, I wouldn't do 3 real and real. But honestly, I was this close. I was like, what if they're just all real? And then he's gonna think, well, some of these have to be fake. But I couldn't help myself. I needed to make some shit up. John says, as long as the giant humanoid frog is living its own life and not eating people, I'll let it, as long as it stays far away from me. Yeah. All right, that was...
It was the too many damn hands. It was too generic. There wasn't enough detail for it to, like, indicate something.
Enough. It might sound real.
All right, we're 3-0.
3-0. I can't stump him, guys. Okay, number 4. I don't even know how many of there are. Real or fake? In the 17th century, a gravestone in Ireland of a woman states she was killed by a creature resembling an otter, but said to be about 5 times as large, perhaps 10 to 15 feet, with a white pelt, black ear tips, and a black cross on its back.
So I'm going to go with this one's real. I'm going to go... It's giving me Bunyip vibes, but I'm not too sure if that one's it, because you didn't reference it earlier when I mentioned it, but I'm going to go with this one being real.
Actually, when you said Bunyip, And then I looked it up. I said, oh, wow, that actually sounds a lot like the Dobar Chew.
Oh, that is one I've actually got in my Google list too. Yep.
Is it?
Yep.
I liked, in the description, it said an extremely large otter-like carnivorous creature.
Yep.
And what? Let me read this other description. It's weird. The Dobar Chew is a water dog or water hound or king otter is a creature of Irish folklore. It resembles both dog and otter, though sometimes it's described as half dog, half fish.
Giant danger noodle.
It lives in water and has fur with protective properties. The physical description of a Dobar Chew resembles an otter, but is said to be about 5 times larger. And with a white pelt, black ear tips, and a black cross on its back, though due to the murky waters it's said to reside in, its pelt may be portrayed as darker.
I guess the wrong cryptid, though, so I'll drink to that.
Okay, thank you. But the legend, Alex, since you're saying that it can't be true because it was about a woman being dead already, her name was supposedly Grace McLaughlin. Her husband supposedly heard her scream as she was washing clothes down at Glendale Loaf and came to her aid. When he got there, she was already dead with the Dobar Chew upon her bloody and mutilated body. The man killed the Dobar Chew, stabbing it in the heart. As it died, it made a whistling noise, and its mate arose from the loft. Its mate chased the man, but after a long and bloody battle, he killed it as well. And now the monument of her headstone, found in Conewall Cemetery in Glendale, County Leitrim, depicts the Dobar Chew and is related to a tale of an attack on a local woman. The stone is claimed to be a headstone of a grave of a woman killed by the Dobar Chew. So, there's facts.
Big facts.
Yeah. He's a monster because he killed the Pokemon. He didn't catch it, and he didn't force it to battle. All right, next. You ready?
Yep.
How are you doing in the chat? Are you on par with Boser, or are you winning like T? Real or fake? Arizona, 1986. A group of school-aged children, accompanied by their teacher, Mr. Vic Schumann, were out by a salt quarry studying rocks when the earth began to shudder, and witnesses claimed to have all seen a large worm-like creature, 50 to 60 feet long, emerge from the ground. The creature reportedly had many small spikes embedded in its skin, with rows of hundreds of sharp teeth placed in a circular fashion.
So I know this one's real, but I cannot remember what the name of this one is.
Okay.
D&D wise, it's just a purple worm. But I do know this is a real cryptid.
Well, I'm a bit torn because I don't know if I saw it in a fever dream or I've seen it on the internet years ago, but I did make this up.
Oh.
I kind of made it up based off like a tremor.
Okay.
But I also don't have an extensive knowledge of every cryptid, so I was afraid that I would accidentally make one up that resembled something, and then I wouldn't know what to do, which is exactly what happened.
I'll still drink.
And I'll drink because I made up a real one.
And also, this is disgusting, Bud Light. Don't make this again.
Wow, Boser, you made it exist. Nice job. Thank you. I did create a monster. All right, keep it going. Real or fake? In 2002, a group of members of a whale research ship witnessed a creature as it surfaced near their ship off the Antarctic coast. Originally thinking it was a submarine, the crew went to take a closer look, but the submarine vanished into the waves. In 2010, it was seen again and described as a whale-like creature that has anatomical similarities to humans. The creature has a face with extremely large limbs.
I'm going to go with this one's fake. There's not a lot of sightings of cryptids in the thousands because everything, technology has bloomed too much. So things get very quickly disproven. And it's the Antarctic coast, a humanoid creature. Yeah, I'm going with this one's fake.
Okay. Well, I can't stop my grin because you're drinking. The Ningen.
I'm gonna need some information on this thing. I've never heard of this.
Not the dumbest thing you've ever seen.
It looks like a tadpole.
It does. So the Ningen, In modern Japanese folklore since the mid-2000s, the Ningen is an aquatic humanoid, whale-like creature supposedly inhabiting the sub-Antarctic oceans. It also says it was invented by Japanese internet users, but I think that was added to Wikipedia.
I think that we're getting towards some creepypasta.
Perhaps. But the history says the legend surrounding the Ningen began in 2002 on a forum post. Okay, I'm drinking. Okay.
I almost said it's 3 and 3, but now we're getting into questionable cryptids.
I just saw this. I was looking up a bunch of them, and I saw this picture, and I couldn't not. I'm like, nope.
That's valid.
I need the world to know about this.
That's fair. I can't say I blame you on that one.
And some of them, so many are like made up and drawn that you can't tell what's like a real drawing, what's like bullshit drawing. Okay. I don't know what the score is anymore, but
technically 3 to 3.
Okay. Real or fake? In 1973, a child described being attacked by a creature having no less than 3 legs, grayish slimy skin, short claws, and reddish eyes. The creature apparently stamped on the boy's feet with its own 3 apparently clawed, foot-like appendages, tearing his tennis shoes to shreds.
This sounds real. I think we're getting more towards chupacabra-esque cryptids.
Okay.
But also at the same time, its description is weird, so I'm going to go with fake for this one.
Well, you said real and you said fake.
Fake is final answer.
Final answer, fake.
Cementing it.
Well, then I think this one is an earned drink by you.
Oh, okay. I don't know this one. The Enfield Horror.
Literally on my way home today, I was just like, I threw up some YouTube videos of cryptids, and like I just randomly clicked this one, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. I've never heard of this. It's called the Enfield Horror, and it took place in the 70s near the Enfield, Illinois area.
Oh, okay.
So the Enfield Horror is one of the absolute strangest creatures ever to be chronicled in a cryptozoological lore. The child described the being as having no less than 3 legs, grayish slimy skin, short claws, reddish eyes. The creature apparently stamped on the boy's feet with its own 3 apparently clawed foot-like appendages, tearing his tennis shoes to shreds. Greg, crying hysterically, wasted no time scurrying away from the fiend and back into the relatively safety of his parents' house. Although young Greg's encounter was technically the first on record, the one that brought the creature to notoriety came just a half hour later when the Garrett's neighbor, one Henry McDaniel, and his family had their own face-to-face encounter with this unbelievable entity. So in some stories it's the neighbor, in some stories it's the father of Greg that in like 1973 runs out and then also corroborates the story of seeing this small-ish, like 4 to 5 feet creature with 3 legs, tiny arms in the front, and big red pinkish eyes.
It was the 3 legs. Like if you told me it had 2 legs, I would have gone real. But like most of the time, cryptids have some sense of you can correlate it to some type of creature. This thing really doesn't correlate to any creature that exists.
No, and it talks about it galloping away, and I always thought, how do you gallop with 3 legs? But like one in the direct back, you know? Like when you gallop, you kind of have to have this right-left.
Yeah, everything about this one's a little weird.
But in one night, it attacked a child. It was shot several times by the boy's father or the neighbor, and then later ran off towards some railroad tracks. And then I think even if you look way back, like maybe 30 years prior to that, I think they documented some evidence of this thing existing, but there's so little sightings of it. But adults saw it and they put it in the paper and it was on the radio. So,
hey, that's a cryptid for it.
That's a cryptid.
It checks all the boxes.
Like a demented charmeleon, an escaped kangaroo, 3rd leg is a tail. The closest relation I could see this guy on the YouTube video used was the aliens in War of the Worlds. The newer one.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah. So that was very interesting. I figured for some reason, I was like, I bet he's never heard of this.
No, you got me on that one. You got me.
Got him. All right, what, at 4-3?
It's in your favor. Yep.
Yes. Okay, here we go. I think we got a couple more. Real or fake? A 17-year-old William or Bill Bartlett claimed that while driving on April 21st, 1977, he saw a large-eyed creature with tendril-like fingers and glowing eyes on the top of a broken stone wall.
I'm picturing like Cthulhu-esque individuals.
Cthulhu, like an octopus man?
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with this one's fake.
What if I told you that it happened in Dover, Massachusetts?
In Massachusetts. I can't think of any. Jersey Devil is the most East Coast cryptid I can think of. The Northeast really doesn't have a whole lot of cryptids to its name because the Jersey Devil travels so far.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's got to be real because you pulled up an actual city and you're not quick enough on your feet to come up with a whole city and a state.
I'm not. I don't know my geography that well because this is technically called the Dover Demon. Have you heard of that one?
I have not heard of that one.
I thought originally in the description it said Dover, Massachusetts. I was like, well, I got to cut Dover out because if he gets that, then he's gonna know. But no, the Dover Demon is a creature reportedly sighted in the town of Dover, Massachusetts, 21st of April, 1977. Like I said, it was a 17-year-old boy saw it in a broken wall, and this 15-year-old John Baxter reported seeing a similar creature on Miller Hill Road the same evening. Another 15-year-old boy, or 15-year-old Abby Brabham, claimed to have seen the creature the following night in Springdale Avenue. Now it just seems like a bunch of kids are making shit up. The teenagers all drew sketches of an alleged creature. Bartlett wrote on his sketch, I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature. Doesn't sound like a lie at all.
Teenagers never lie.
Never.
Why were you out late? Listen, Mom, you're not going to believe this shit. But look what I came across on my way home. I was too terrified to cross its path.
I wasn't out with Abby Brabham at all. According to the Boston Globe, the locations of the sightings plotted on the map lay in a straight line over 2 miles. Some suggested that the creature may have been a foal or a moose calf. Police told the Associated Press that the creatures reported by the teenagers were probably nothing more than a school vacation hoax.
Lots in the 1970s. Too many psychedelics.
Yeah, these kids were on drugs, but that's another one for me.
Yeah, 5-3. 5-3.
5-3. Yeah.
Damn.
And I think that's all I had.
Oh, started off so strong and then just went downhill so quick.
I told you, they got easy and then they got harder.
Let's see if I can pull up any for you. See if I can get to my Google Drive real quick. Google.
Just some ones that you have documented?
Yeah.
How did you do in the chat? Would you be drunk as me right now? Or drunk as T? A moose calf with the vines stuck on its hooves? Yeah, that's what I was... A foal or a moose, you don't often see them climbing a stone wall with tendrils for fingers. They're not like little billy goats.
All right, let's go through some cool ones here while we still have a few minutes.
All right.
All right, so first one we got is an adlet. It's a bloodthirsty creature based on Inuit mythology. They are known as the Erquigit. I butchered that enough. Resulted as the union between an Inuit woman and a giant dog. The woman gave birth to 5 dogs and 5 aldits. The upper half is believed to be human, while the lower half is canine.
Well, the fact you're reading it off your phone.
Oh, yeah, no, these are all going to be... This one isn't a quiz. This is just going to be some cool cryptids I came across. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep drinking then.
Then there's
like,
the
I think they're all
ahul
real.
or the athel, which is a giant bat or possibly flying primate, 3 to 4 times the size of the flying fox. It's very territorial and mostly eats fauna, but will attack humans.
And where's that one located?
That one was based in, I believe that one was a Philippines cryptid.
How did you find all these?
A lot of hours searching.
Okay.
There's the Bear Lake Monster in Utah. It's a 40-foot long with short, powerful legs, known to wait by the shores and grab its victim. It's grayish green with the head of an alligator. The photos of it just make it look like a very, very old and oversized alligator.
But like alligators are basically dinosaurs. Can we all agree on that?
They existed during dinosaurs, so
How did they survive and nothing else did?
because they're lazy as fuck. They just chill. Obviously, I brought up the Beast of Busco, which is in Busco, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot, obviously. The Binyup we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Champ we mentioned. El Chupacabra is a very popular one. The goat sucker.
I found some pictures of it, but it just seemed like a really like mangy dog.
Definitely a possibility. See,
I've seen some ugly dogs.
Dob Chew, like you had mentioned.
Aha. So that was one you had already looked up.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the Amila Nitoka, the elephant killer found in the Congo. Ferocious and kills anything it encounters. It's the size of an African bush elephant, brown-gray in color, with a heavy tail and body similar to a rhino, but it may also be semi-aquatic.
Semi-aquatic elephant killer.
You've got the Philocoteris, which is also known as the Ayaya Napa sea monster, which is going to be more commonly known as the Scylla out of the Odyssey. A friendly sea monster that has no reports of attacking anyone or anything. But if you read Homer's rendition of it, the Scylla was very, very aggressive.
I read most of the Odyssey, but in very small spurts. Some were like books, spark notes. Some were real pages. So I can't remember what the Scylla was.
The Scylla and Charybdis were the whirlpool and the sea monster that existed.
Oh, in the bottom.
Yep.
That one girl tied to a rock was fed to?
I think so. It's been a minute since I've brushed up on that lore.
I just remember some painting.
We've got the folk monster, also known as the swamp stalker of the Boggy Creek in the south. It's in Arkansas. It's basically just another rendition of Sasquatch. But this one is known to be a much more vicious and attacks humans often. We went over Frogman. There's the Hodag of Wisconsin. It's got the head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant elephant, thick short legs set off by huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with spears at the end.
Yeah, that sounds made up. How do you have a frog head and an elephant face?
You've got the Jersey Devil, which has hooves, a snake tail, bat wings, and the head of a horse. The Kraken, obviously. The Leshy we discussed. There's the Lizard Man of the Scape Ore Swamp. Is a Creek tribe legend. The bipedal hominid that is the size of the average man.
Okay.
One of my favorites is the Mabiquagari. It's an Amazonian shaman who discovered immortality, but was cursed by the gods and transformed into a giant sloth.
Okay.
A very popular one is the Monkey Man of Delhi. He is known to go around and rob people. Moth Man, obviously. Nessie, obviously.
Wait, talk a little more about Moth Man, because that's one that, like, the movie came out in, like, 2000, and that's always been really interesting to me.
So Mothman came out of West Virginia. He is more or less known as just a humanoid moth. He seems to be fairly passive, doesn't attack people very often. Just the creature people kind of look up in the night sky and see the Moth Man fly over with.
But like, what's the is there an origin of the Mothman, or just like a creature that we've never been able to find?
Haven't been able to find one. It's 7 feet tall, has a 15-foot wingspan, and can fly up to 100 miles an hour.
I mean, there's got to be enough sightings to know how fast it can fly.
Right. The Oklahoma octopus, like Lucas mentioned earlier, it attacks and kills unsuspecting swimmers. It's the size of a horse and resembles an octopus. Long tentacles and leathery reddish-brown skin.
Okay.
This is the creature I thought you were talking about. The Olgio Kororkai, which is also known as the Mongolian death worm. It's 2 to 5 feet in length and shoots acid that corrodes anything it touches. It can also kill through an electric discharge.
I actually almost put that on the list.
That's what was in my head when you mentioned that earthworm.
Because I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
There's the Owl Man, which is just similar to the Moth Man, but an owl. He's based in England, though.
Okay.
Momo, which is the Missouri monster. Again, it seems to be another one related to Sasquatch, but a lot more poofy.
Okay.
Skinwalkers, which we did not go over very much. It's a Native American legend. It's more popularly known as where they were witches, but they will steal skin and wear it and assume the identity or the creature and become creature-esque. But it still seems off. They can't quite get it right. You got the South Bay Bessie, which is just Nessie, but in Lake Erie. There's the Thunderbird, which is very, very old mythology from Native Americans. Then one of my favorites, the Van Meter Monster, based out of Iowa. It's a half animal, half human winged creature that shoots light from its forehead.
Okay. Well, see, I know that you could keep going forever because you've done so much extensive research in cryptids and cryptozoology for your amazing book/anime/TTRPG module that's soon to hit stores near you. But we are against the clock, so we gotta pull it out from here. I have learned so fucking much.
That's what I'm here for.
You did at home. Did too. No, I'm not just bored, Clunes. I could talk about this all night long, but honestly, you got to a point where I don't have enough questions. Like I want to know more about this, but we don't have enough time for me to even ask them all. But if you are enjoying this and you want to keep hanging out with T and learn more about this, then do join the Discord. Throw up the command Discord and get a link straight to our personal Discord, and you'll be joined by a bunch of other geeks that like to geek out about cosplay, about anime, about role-playing games, about video games, about all the great things on this earth that make it worth living. So come join, hang out with our little FGBG fam, and then hang out again with T on Wednesday, where he is painting. What are you painting, T?
We're not painting this week.
Oh, we're not.
We're assembling our big project. We're cracking open our combat patrol box, and we're going to start assembling these guys.
And last week you kind of came to...
we created the lore for it.
Inspired?
Yep. It's going to be FGBG themed. FGBG. Yeah, for Geeks by Geeks. FGBG themed. So we've got our color schemed. And then eventually we're going to have nameplates made for everybody. And they're going to be tacked on. So all of our 4 Geeks by Geeks community is going to be a part of this project.
Amazing.
But I'm also going to be very drunk, so look out for the things that are going to fall out of my mouth.
On his birthday. So you
on my birthday.
On his birthday.
I'll be a whopping 27.
And we'll add the drink channel rewards so that you can just keep him drunk all night long while he tries to aim for that paintbrush. Basically.
Don't worry, Clunes. We'll be back painting after that.
And then Thursdays are, of course, our ongoing D&D campaign, our mini campaign, which is actually coming to
a conclusion.
We just recorded this past weekend
Episode 12.
2 episodes, 11 and 12, and you get to watch 11 on Thursday. So tune in. We'll be live in the chat with you while you watch us in our shenanigans and with a pre-recorded D&D campaign. And then next Monday, I'll be back. I'll be back right here with our very own, our favorite Alec Yellow on his own birthday. And I know that he geeks out with all of you, so please, I hope it's the highest numbers we've ever had for a Geek Out Sesh next Monday for Alec, because he devotes his whole life to all of you. So come hang out with him and support him on his birthday. I'm going to share his first drink with him live here on stream, and we're going to be doing a bunch of ridiculous stuff, some stuff that might involve Code Lyoko, because I love him and I hate myself. So, that's it. That's your Geek Out Sesh for this week. T, thanks again for joining.
Happy to be here. I'm quickly trying to look for somebody for us to raid real quick.
All right, while he gets that going, all of you, I hope you join us again on Discord, and you can always find everything that we've done in the past on our YouTube or podcasts, and you can find all those links at 4geeksbygeeks.live, as well as other things where you can get your merch and geek out loud with some of our technical difficulties merch. There's also
which you experienced today.
I'm ordering something right after this because I need to wear it the next stream. There's also the Sarangate merch that still is live. That means I love you in Korean in the most
informal way possible.
Informal way. And any money that we get towards that, all profits will go directly towards the StopAAPIHate.org to just continue that amazing, amazing organization. We got somebody to raid, T?
We do.
All right. Well, we're going to hit it. And until next time, I am Boser.
I'm T.
And you just keep
geeking out. Bye.
Nah.
Intro, outro.